Right now, there are 60 million horses on Earth. They carry us across finish lines. They pull our carriages. They follow our commands. But here's what nobody tells you. For millions of years, horses ran from us. We hunted them. We ate them. Their bones are in our ancient trash piles. So at some point, something changed. A horse that should have run didn't. And what happened in that moment is one of the most important events in all of human history. Let's go back 55 million years. The first horse wasn't what you're imagining. It was the size of a dog. Seriously, a small, timid, forest-dwelling creature called Eohippus, 4 toes on its front feet, 3 on the back, hiding in dense forests eating soft leaves. Nothing about it said future partner of humanity. But over millions of years, the climate changed. Forests shrunk, grasslands appeared, and this tiny creature had to adapt or die. Its toes slowly fused into hooves, its legs grew longer, its body grew bigger. It moved out of the forests and onto the open plains. And on those open plains, it learned one thing above everything else: run. Because on open grasslands, there is nowhere to hide. Your only option is speed. And horses became extraordinary at it. By the time ancient humans arrived on those same plains, horses could run 55 kilometers per hour. Humans could manage maybe 15. There was absolutely no reason for a horse to ever stop running from us. But here's what makes this story strange. Humans weren't even interested in riding horses at first. For the first 100,000 years of our relationship, horses were just food. Archaeological sites across Europe and Asia are filled with horse bones. Cracked open, marrow scooped out, clear evidence of butchering. In one site in France called Salutre, archaeologists found the bones of over 100,000 horses. All hunted, all eaten. Horses knew what humans were. They knew what happened when they got close. So they ran. Then something shifted around 5,500 years ago on the flat, windy grasslands of what is now Kazakhstan. A group of people called the Botai were living there, and they were doing something nobody had done before. They were keeping horses alive. Not to eat immediately, alive. Archaeologists found something extraordinary at Botai sites. Horse teeth with specific wear patterns. The kind of wear that only happens when something is placed in a horse's mouth repeatedly. A bit. A primitive rope or leather strap placed between the teeth to control direction. Someone had figured out how to steer a horse. But how? How do you go from a terrified prey animal that has been hunted by your species for thousands of years to an animal wearing a rope in its mouth? The answer is not what you think. It didn't start with riding. It started with water. The Kazakh steppe is brutally cold in winter. Water sources freeze. Finding water becomes the difference between life and death. Horses have an extraordinary ability to smell water from miles away and find it under snow by pawing the ground. Researchers believe the Botai people first started following horse herds in winter, not to hunt them, to find water. They watched where the horses went. They followed. And slowly, over generations, something changed in that relationship. The horses noticed these humans following them weren't attacking. They were just there, walking the same paths, drinking from the same water, not threatening, not hunting, just present. And this is where biology takes over. Every animal on Earth has what scientists call a flight distance. It's the minimum distance a predator can get before the animal runs. For wild horses around humans, this distance was enormous, hundreds of meters. But horses are also highly intelligent social animals. They communicate constantly. They pass information through herds. And some individual horses, through natural variation, were simply born with a shorter flight distance than others. Less reactive, less fearful, more curious. These horses didn't run quite as fast, didn't flee quite as far. In normal circumstances, this would be a death sentence. But around the Botai people who weren't hunting them anymore, these calmer horses survived just fine. Better, actually. Because calmer horses conserved more energy, spent less time running from false alarms. Generation after generation, the horses living near the Botai settlements were slowly, invisibly, becoming slightly less afraid. Nobody planned this. Nobody understood genetics. Nobody had a goal. It just happened. Then came the moment. Nobody knows exactly when it happened, or who did it first. But at some point, a Botai person approached one of these calmer horses, close enough to touch, and the horse didn't run. Maybe it was a young horse, curious rather than fearful. Maybe it was an older horse that had spent years near the settlement and had simply gotten used to humans. Whatever it was, in that moment, one human put their hand on a horse for the first time, and the horse stood still. From there, the progression was probably slow. Months, years, slowly getting the horse comfortable with weight, with pressure on its back, with the feel of a human sitting on it. But once it happened, everything changed. Think about what riding a horse actually meant for ancient humans. A human on foot covers maybe 30 kilometers in a day if they push hard. A human on horseback covers 150 kilometers, easily. Trade routes that took weeks to travel suddenly took days. Messages that were impossible to send across vast distances could now reach their destination. Armies that marched on foot could now move faster than any enemy could react. Within a few generations of the Botai first riding horses, mounted humans were spreading across the Eurasian steppe at a speed the world had never seen. Historians believe the spread of Indo-European languages, which today include English, Spanish, Hindi, Russian, and hundreds of others, was powered almost entirely by people on horseback. The horse didn't just change how humans moved, it changed which humans dominated, which cultures spread, which languages survived. An argument can be made that the language you are listening to right now only exists because 5,500 years ago, one calm horse on the Kazakh steppe didn't run. And here is the part that most people never think about. The horse didn't have to agree to any of this. A horse is not a small animal. An adult horse weighs 500 kilograms and can kick with enough force to kill a human instantly. Horses are not domesticated the way dogs are domesticated. Dogs were selectively bred over tens of thousands of years specifically to bond with humans. Their entire neurology changed. Horses are still fundamentally wild animals. Even today, wild horses exist on every continent they were introduced to. Given the choice, they return to wildness within generations. Every horse that has ever been ridden made a choice on some level. Not a conscious, deliberate choice like a human makes, but a biological, neurological choice. To allow, to tolerate, to stay. So why did horses let humans ride them? The honest answer is they didn't, at first. For hundreds of thousands of years they ran. But humans stopped hunting them in one small corner of the world. And in that corner, over generations, fear slowly became familiarity. And familiarity became tolerance. And tolerance became partnership. And that partnership between a 500-kilogram animal that could outrun anything on the planet and a small, hairless primate that had no business being on its back built roads, empires, and a world that still exists today. The horse didn't let humans ride them because we were stronger. We weren't. It didn't happen because we were faster. We weren't even close. It happened because somewhere on a frozen steppe 5,500 years ago, humans stopped being a threat. And the horse noticed. That's all it took. Not force, not conquest, just patience. And the horse deciding slowly, generation by generation, that maybe this strange creature walking behind them wasn't so dangerous after all. Maybe it was even worth keeping around.